You know, when you first glance at a financial report, it can seem like it's telling you one simple story. But today, we're not just going to read the headlines. We're going to dig a little deeper. Look for the clues hidden inside the latest report from Aaron Industries and really uncover the real story behind those numbers.
Yup, that's what we're doing today. Think of these reports, they can look pretty dense, right? Kind of intimidating. But if you start treating them like a collection of clues, this incredible story just starts to emerge. You just have to know where to look.
So, what's our case file? It's the company's Q2 2024 performance report, and our mission is to piece together all the evidence and figure out what's really making this company tick. Ready? Let's crack this thing open.
All right, first things first. Every good detective needs the basic facts of the case, right? So let's get our bearings.
So our subject is Aaron Industries Limited. And the evidence in front of us, it's their unaudited financial report for the quarter that just ended on September 30th, 2024. This is basically the freshest snapshot we have of the company's financial health. Let's see what it's telling us.
Okay, now we're getting to the good stuff. Let's look at the first set of major clues. You know, these are the big, headline-grabbing numbers that give us that first impression of how things are going.
And our first big clue is the revenue from operations. So for this quarter, Aaron Industries brought in 18.3 crore rupees. Now, that's the total cash generated from their main business, and it gives us a really clear idea of just how big this company is.
But you know, revenue is just the top line. It's only part of the story. After you take away all the costs of doing business, we're talking materials, salaries, taxes, the whole shebang. What's actually left over? Well, that's the profit. And for Aaron Industries, that number is 1.8 crore rupees. This is the bottom line, the number that really tells you if they're making money.
So is 1.8 crore a good number? I mean, is that a lot? For any good detective, context is everything. So let's look back. If we compare this to the quarter that ended back in March 2023, their profit was 1.65 crore. Aha! So we're definitely seeing some solid positive growth here. The bottom line is trending up, and that is a really crucial positive sign.
Okay, so the big picture looks pretty good, right? But a good detective never, ever stops at the surface. It's time to pop the hood and take a look inside the engine room to see what's really powering these results.
See, Aaron Industries isn't just one single thing. It's actually made up of different business segments. So the next obvious question has to be, are all parts of this business pulling their weight? Or is one division doing all the heavy lifting for everyone else? And whoa, this breakdown is revealing. Of that total 18.3 crore in revenue, a whopping 15.2 crore of it comes from their elevator division. The steel polishing division, just 3.1 crore. It is crystal clear which part of the business is the real sales engine here.
But hang on a second. Making a bunch of sales is one thing, right? But actually making a profit from those sales, that's what really truly matters. And this, my friends, is where our investigation gets super interesting.
And boom, here it is. This is probably the single most crucial clue in our entire investigation. That elevator division, it's not just making sales, it is insanely profitable, bringing in 7.1 crore rupees. But the steel polishing division, oh boy. Despite its revenue, it's actually operating at a massive loss of nearly 3.8 crore. Think about what that means. The elevator business isn't just successful, it's literally propping up the entire company and covering all the losses from the other division. Wow.
Okay, that finding is a huge piece of the puzzle. So now that we know that, let's switch gears and check out the company's overall financial structure. Is the foundation solid? To figure that out, we need to look at the balance sheet.
Now, don't let the term balance sheet scare you off. It sounds complicated, but it's really not. It's just a snapshot in time. On one side, you've got assets, that's all the stuff the company owns. On the other side, you have liabilities and equity, and that's just how they paid for all that stuff. It's either with borrowed money, which we call liabilities, or with the owner's own cash, which is equity. Simple as that. So let's put some numbers to it. As of September 30th, Aaron Industries owned total assets worth 82.7 crore rupees, and that includes everything. We're talking factories, machinery, right down to the cash they have in the bank.
Okay, so how did they pay for all that stuff? Well, the first part of the answer is liabilities. The company owed a grand total of 44.2 crore rupees. This is money they owe to suppliers, banks, other lenders.
And the rest of it, that comes from the owner's stake, or what we call equity, which stands at 38.5 crore rupees. This is basically the net worth of the company.
And here's the cool part. Notice how the liabilities and the equity, that 44.2 plus 38.5, add up perfectly to the 82.7 crore in assets? See? It all balances out. That's why it's called a balance sheet.
So, what does this funding mix really look like when you put it all together? Well, you can see the company is financed just a little bit more by debt than by the owner's own funds. Now, this isn't necessarily good or bad, it's just a key part of their financial DNA. It tells us they tend to rely a bit more on borrowing to fuel their growth. All right, we've examined all the evidence, we've followed the money trail, and we've checked the foundation. I think it's time. Let's close this case file and deliver our final verdict on the story of Aran Industries this quarter.
So what did our detective work actually uncover? Let's recap. First, the company's overall profit is growing. That's a clear win. Second, this business is overwhelmingly, and I mean overwhelmingly, driven by its elevator division, both in sales and, more importantly, in profits. And third, our smoking gun. That profitable elevator business is basically bankrolling the big losses coming from the steel polishing division.
So when you put all those pieces together, the story of Aran Industries isn't really about one company at all. It's a classic tale of two completely different businesses living under one roof. You've got one, a high-performing engine of growth just firing on all cylinders, and then you've got the other one, which is really struggling to even find its footing.
And that, of course, leaves us with one big final question. With one engine firing on all cylinders and the other one sputtering and failing, what's the next chapter for Aran Industries? Are they going to try and fix that struggling division, or will they decide to focus all their energy on the one that's already flying high? That is the huge strategic question that these numbers force us to ask.